It can only be attributable to human error.
He meddled in things that you people. He meddled in things. He meddled in things.
Where will we go next? This is phantom from another time.
No one, Mr. Mulder.
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Cryptid Campfire. Tall Tales.
Oh,
Sorry. Welcome, guys.
you save that. Should save that for the intro.
It's in, dude.
Yeah.
That is the intro.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Hi, I'm Alex Daikaiju. To my left
Jasmine with
and across,
Eli Watson.
and we are
Cryptid Campfire.
and we're here with another Tall Tales edition.
Woo!
Oh, and we got Jasmine here.
Yes, I'm back.
Second time.
2 out of 5. 2 out of 7? Am I right?
I have no idea.
Getting closer?
Unless we get more Patreon, Jasmine will not be coming back. So sign up, tell your friends.
So today we are talking about the green children of Woolpit.
Mm-hmm. And who are these weirdos?
So it begins a battle on an English battlefield. Hold on, give me
A
one
man
second.
with a kilt and a blue
I
face.
didn't read about a
forward.
battle anywhere.
Well, it begins in the thrust of what is known as the Anarchy. Mid-12th century, King Stephen of England is battling Empress Matilda as she's trying to get the throne for her birthright.
Oh,
The
This
year,
is some background info that I didn't look into.
yeah, this is crazy.
the year is 1150. All right, and that's basically the setup. We're in a small town called Woolpit, which is in Suffolk, and it's a rural town. They probably don't really care about what's happening with the king and the
Don't care about the anarchy in the UK.
the anarchy. Yeah, it lasted 19 years, which is pretty insane.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got really into it a little bit, and I was like, dude, this is some crazy power struggles.
They were agriculturally productive, this town.
Woolpit,
Yeah.
which is named after pits that they created to catch wolves.
Oh yeah, you imagine like medieval times they had wolf problems. So they had to dig these big pits to capture the wolves,
Yeah, and they had spikes on them.
and then they eat the wolves, and then they became werewolves
Oh, Jesus.
from eating the wolf flesh.
Or is it
No,
like
no,
the
no.
Mokele and Bembe episode
Oh,
where,
where they
where
all
they eat
die.
and they all just
They
die?
like start like dissolving.
Oh god. All right, so
But yeah, so small town, agriculturally predominant.
progressive. They're agriculturally progressive.
Yeah, and basically these two kids just showed up with green skin.
Yeah.
They were found. Yeah, they were found by reapers working their fields at harvest time near some ditches that had been excavated to trap the wolves, like you were
Yeah.
mentioning.
And then the kids crawled out, right? Or did they show up?
I'm not 100% sure.
I think they were just kind of there.
Oh,
I don't think they were in the ground or anything.
Oh,
No.
what? Because one story made it seem like they were like tending the field, and then the kids just like climbed out.
Oh my
of-
god!
Like,
I don't
just
think
like
that's what
green
happened.
kid.
green kids and
Emerging from the ground like a zombie.
oh no!
Yeah.
They got weird clothes on too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just said they were found, and yeah, they had clothes that were made from, quote, unfamiliar materials.
And they were speaking gibberish.
Yeah, unintelligible speech, and their skin was tinged with a green hue. Like they had green
And
skin.
apparently they were really nervous.
Like shaky and weird.
They were
Yeah.
big scared.
I mean, I would imagine.
You know, after crawling out of a wool pit.
But they were taken to the village, where they were eventually accepted into the home of a local landowner, Sir Richard Decane at Wilkes.
Yes.
Basically,
And
the kids...
They were like his new pets.
No! I don't think that's
Let them
accurate.
run around the house, crate trained them.
No, I think he treated them as children, but they wouldn't eat anything that was presented to them. Any food or meals that was prepared for them, they would not eat. But eventually, I guess the villagers, just through process of elimination, figured out that they liked beans.
So what I found on that is that they apparently found Mr. Decane was growing green beans in his backyard. And they discovered it there and ate it straight out of the ground. They just like
man.
ripped it up and ate it.
Oh god.
So, and that was the only thing they would eat.
And he had to put
Yeah,
like
for
fences
months.
up around his green beans.
Yeah, for months.
And then it says they developed a little bit of a taste for bread too.
Yeah,
After a few months.
Dang, dude, bread
But
is so good.
sadly, the brother, we assume brother.
Yes.
We assume they're brother and sister. The boy became sick and succumbed to illness and passed away.
And see, this is where my version
Differs?
departs. Yes.
Oh.
It changes the timeline of when young boy dies.
Oh.
And so it basically continues on for years that they're living with the cane, and they both learn English, and they have a quote. So this comes from a contemporary writer of the time named Ralph of Coggeshall. And so I'm not entirely sure if this is 100% accurate, but if you guys would indulge me, I would like to read the supposed quote that they told the cane about where they came from.
Okay.
They or the girl? Because
Boy and girl.
Boy
Because
and
like I
girl?
said,
Right.
my version, the boy's still alive.
Boy's still alive. Okay.
So, and they said, as if in one voice, just kidding. They didn't do that.
Their
In
eyes
unison.
like rolled back in their heads.
Yeah. They said, "We are inhabitants of the land of Saint Martin, who is regarded with peculiar veneration in the country which gave us birth. So we are ignorant of how we arrived here. We only remember this, that on a certain day, when we were feeding our father's flocks in the fields, we heard a great sound, such as we are now accustomed to hear at St. Edmund's, when the bells are chiming, and whilst listening to the sound in admiration, we became, on a sudden, as it were, entranced, and found ourselves among you in the fields where you were reaping. The sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our land is little cheered by its beams. We are contented with that twilight, which among you precedes the sunrise, or follows the sunset. Moreover, a certain luminous country is seen, not for distant from ours, and divided from it by a very considerable river." And that was when Decane was like, "I need to take these people to get baptized." And the boy died shortly after that.
Interesting. Very
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
So-
Those are some big words for some
Right?
kids.
Right, especially after learning English.
Yeah.
Just like
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's a possibility that, children in that time and in that country had a
Right.
more, advanced vocabulary than maybe, current American children do.
Fancy talk back in the old times.
But if they had only recently learned English, like,
Right.
if it wasn't their first language, then
And then
that's
they
pretty
drop
wild.
those rhymes?
Like,
That's crazy.
See, my mother, English is her second language, and she speaks very, very good English after however many years. And I don't think I've heard her once say the word veneration.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly.
I'd have to Google
So,
that.
I don't know. But yes, so continue your version.
So this version says that the boy became sick soon when he was young after, acquiring a taste for bread and beans and whatnot. But the girl remained in good health and eventually lost her green-tinged skin. She learned how to speak English and was later married to a man at King's Lynn in the neighboring county of Norfolk. According to some accounts, she took the name Agnes Barr, and the man she married was an ambassador of Henry II, although these details have not been verified.
Well, that's because those details are wrong. He was not an ambassador, he was an archdeacon.
Okay.
And so,
I don't know the difference.
because an archdeacon is like a priest almost, it's a deacon. And so he's like one of the 4 archdeacons, or I'm not even going to say a number actually, so I'm sorry if that's wrong. Anyways, basically, if you look up, what's his name again? Robert? I have it here.
That's a crazy name.
I don't know if I have.
Richard Barr. So he is the Archdeacon of Ely, Richard Barr. And so some sources say he's an ambassador. So if you look up Ambassador Richard Barr, nothing comes up. And that's because he wasn't an ambassador. He was the Archdeacon of Ely. And when you look that up, and Wikipedia comes up with a whole list of all these people, Richard Barr, whose lifespan matches the period that we're talking about. He would be 20 years old in 1150, which is marrying age, and considering that's a couple years after even, so it still even makes sense. And it mentions, you can find that on the Wikipedia article for this man, it mentions that he marries Agnes.
Oh.
So...
And they
So
had,
there's a possibility that these people like were real and they did exist.
And they had a child.
and it was part
They
green.
had a child?
That's what, according to one source, they had at least one child.
And it came out with big green eyes, and it had like mantis claws.
No.
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 It was a normal little baby, so you could be related to some green peeps, everybody.
Whoa.
Just start eating straight beans.
But in this version of the story,
Just not at Cars
Yes.
2.
she apparently told the story in less detail than what you had just read. It says that the girl reported that she and her brother came from the, quote, land of St. Martin, where there was no sun but a perpetual twilight, and all of the inhabitants were green like them. She described another luminous land that could also be seen across the river. So basically everything you just said, but summarized into understandable terminology.
Yeah, right.
She and her brother had been looking after their father's flock of what? I don't know. Sheep.
Well, sheep.
When they came upon a cave. And now the version you read said that they like just heard something and like were entranced and then ended up where they were.
Yeah.
They
This
heard bells
version
or something,
says
right?
this version says that they found a cave and entered the cave and wandered through the darkness for a long time until they came out on the other side,
Right.
entering into bright sunlight, which they found startling. And this is when they were found by the Reapers.
Right.
So
It's all
similarities, but different.
It's all very strange, mysterious.
It's a fun story, though.
Yeah.
I like that it's like one isolated story.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to follow. Well, I mean,
I
you know what I mean
Well, yeah,
when I
because
say
there's,
easy.
there's
but
like either 2 or 3 sources on it, and some parts contradict each other, which is why this is happening. But
It's crazy because it's what, like 900 years ago?
yeah,
Right.
1150. Yeah, wow,
Is that crazy?
it's a long time ago.
So, because the articles that I was reading, they're like, oh, it's a 900-year-old story. It's even considered a fairy tale
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. There's some people who view the story as like a fairy tale that describes an imaginary encounter with inhabitants of another world beneath our feet, or even extraterrestrial. So there's
Or
this
interdimensional window fallers.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then others do accept it as a real story, but think that it's been altered or misinterpreted or something like that. But it was a historical event that actually happened.
Interesting.
There are theories that try to explain what actually happened and, why they were green and all of this.
Yes.
Did you guys read about that?
That's
did.
what's pretty crazy is because there's a medical condition. Is it a deficit? Like your body's not getting proper nutrients?
So, yeah, the condition is called hypochromic anemia, originally known as chlorosis. And the condition is caused by a very poor diet that affects the color of the red blood cells and results in a noticeably green shade of the skin. And this theory is kind of supported because of the fact that the girl was described as returning to a normal skin color after adopting a healthy diet. So
Right.
a not green skin.
You know what's crazy is there's been cases of people who will eat carrots. Like,
And turn orange.
Yeah.
I love carrots, man.
What?
I just had roasted carrots and broccoli today. I will eat a bowl of carrots and broccoli that was put in the
Ooh.
oven and be happy.
I
And
mean-
that is
Really?
something that would never have happened to me like 4 years ago. You
Ooh.
just chop up the broccoli and carrots, put some olive oil, garlic powder, and pepper, and then
Little bit
roast
of
it for
salt,
20
too?
minutes.
20
I don't
minutes?
do salt, too much
It's
sodium.
good.
oh.
It's freaking good. I'll eat
Really?
a bowl of it and be happy.
Oh.
Whoa.
Add chicken, make it better too.
That's our next episode.
with lemon.
Jasmine's
Yeah.
cooking that for us.
Nope.
Although that sounds pretty good.
Wait. Okay, so you know how like last year you gave me those salted pretzels, like the chocolate ones?
Yeah.
Can you give me this broccoli and carrots?
You want me to make you broccoli and carrots?
Yeah.
But it was
Sure.
chocolate.
Yeah, man.
We'll
Well, at our next, oh, dude, I can make it. I'll cook it at our next movie night. I'll cook it next week.
Okay. No.
If,
Yeah. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
For sure.
that'll be our snack.
Heck yeah.
Instead of going to 7-Eleven for ice cream and buffalo chicken
Buffalo
rollers,
chi- Ooh.
Jasmine will make roasted vegetables.
Dude.
Oh, you'll give me
Fire,
that
okay.
hot dog that's been there for 5 hours.
Gross.
But yeah, people turn orange sometimes if they eat too much carrots.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But-
And then there's also descriptions about why they were saying that they had come from a strange land, too.
Oh, really?
So, there's a study. So, Paul Harris suggested in Fortean Studies 4 that the children were I don't know if it's Flemish or Flemish. It's probably
Flemish, yeah.
Flemish orphans,
That's right.
possibly from a nearby place known as Fornham St. Martin, which was separated from Woolpit by the River Lark. A lot of Flemish immigrants had arrived during the 12th century, but were persecuted under the reign of King Henry II. In 1173, many were killed near Bury Street, Edmonds, or Bury St. I don't know why I said street. Bury St. Edmonds. If they had fled into Thetford Forest, it may have seemed like permanent twilight to the frightened children. And they may have also entered one of the many underground mine passages in the area, which would have been the cave that they claimed they had found, which finally led them to Woolpit.
Yeah.
And then Flemish style and clothing was different. They would obviously be speaking a different language.
Yeah.
And they would have just appeared very strange to the people in Woolpit.
Right. Wait, and you said that occurred in 1173? Mm-hmm. The only problem I have with that is this story supposedly takes place in 1150. Mm-hmm. So this would set it before.
I'm just reading what the website told me.
This is an open and shut case, guys. Despite the year discrepancy, this completely explains it.
Just some green Flemish children.
Yeah, I don't know why they included that if that is an irrelevant timeline. But...
I mean, you figure too. I don't know if it gets lost in time. Like, people just start assigning like, oh, it was like 1170 something or other. You know, I heard it from old so and so like 50 years ago. Like, so it could just be. I mean, it's a 900-year-old story, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So you figure there's been a couple of details lost or added or changed throughout the year. I mean, they think it's a fairy tale, but then it really happened with some two weird kids showed up.
Yeah. And then there is that theory that they were extraterrestrials.
Ooh, where's that from?
And they came from the planet Lanulos.
Oh, no.
Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, the Adrian Cold episode, yeah.
It was 1621 is that idea comes in. And it has a funny, there's like a weird foreign name for it, but I have the translation of the book. It's called Anatomy of Melancholia.
Oh, is it a French book? Or?
I think so, yeah, by Robert Berton.
Okay.
But like that name alone is pretty cool. Anatomy of Melancholy. Like that sounds like a 90s Smashing Pumpkin album.
What?
But that's where you get that quote. It states that they fell from the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Which I don't know where, like, they didn't say anything about falling.
That.
Right? It's just like, because, the story is, maybe they climbed out of the wolf pit or they just kind of showed up.
Yeah.
But imagine it's like the 12th century. It's still kind of medieval times. And then these two green kids just fall from the sky.
If anything, I mean, they didn't say anything about falling from the sky, but they did say something about being underground and in a cave. So, if anything, it should be emerging from hell rather than falling from heaven.
Oh, it's interesting too, because they're from a land that's always twilight.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're from a UFO that was always traveling through the space.
Yeah.
Traveling through the space.
Through the space between the faces.
But what about interdimensional window fallers?
Someone left a window open and the green kids fell out.
Well, that would explain, they accidentally walked through a portal and couldn't get back home.
Yeah. And then a 1996 article published in the magazine Analog, astronomer Duncan Lunin hypothesized that the children were accidentally transported to Woolpit from their home planet, which may be trapped in synchronous orbit around its sun, presenting the conditions for life only in a narrow twilight zone between a fiercely hot surface and a frozen dark side. Can you imagine accidentally dropping your kids off on the wrong planet?
Oops.
They call those eyeball planets, right?
I wouldn't know.
I think so, because it's like it's really
like
sick looking. Well, no, because it's only like a certain part of the planet isn't habitable, like she just said. So like one side would just be way like just a wasteland of heat, and the other side would just be
like
way
a
too
frozen
cold.
tundra or something.
So you leave just kind of like this
That center area.
Little pocket.
That strip.
This strip, yeah.
Oh,
And I think they
it's
call
like
those
a halo.
I think they call those eyeball planets. So yeah, that's actually pretty sick.
Whoa! And then they just were like, "Whoops, we dropped them off at the wrong planet."
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So we all know what that astronomer was thinking. He found out about the existence of eyeball planets and was like, you know who comes from there? Those green kids from Woolpit almost 1,000 years ago.
I'm calling it now.
Pretty crazy way to tie that in.
But dang, that's wild.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that they didn't really say much about their parents except for the fact that they were watching over their father's flock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't. I mean, at least in the records, there's like not any information about their family.
Yeah.
Did you mention that where they're from is like always green? Everything's tinged green.
It said everyone else is green. It didn't say anything about like the landscape being green.
The stories, maybe they just simplify it to where they say everything is green, which is weird. But then again, I think their clothes were a different color, so maybe just the people.
Yeah, just the people.
Maybe green sheep.
They're
too.
on a monochromatic planet.
Dude, that would suck.
They're just like, we only developed one major primary color.
Green's a secondary color.
Oh no! Oh yeah, it's yellow and blue, right?
Yep.
Oh no!
Dang.
Art.
How would you be able to live life? I'm glad you said that because I don't know the primary colors.
Blue, yellow, red.
Mm-hmm.
You know what David Lynch has to say about that?
What?
Shoot it in black and white.
Well, he says that primary colors are bullshit.
Meaning, what does that? They exist. What does that mean?
And then they asked him like, "Can you explain that?" And he was like, "No." So
what? I'm unsatisfied.
The reason I bring up David Lynch, we just talked about him on the Lizard People of Los Angeles. So
we did.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive.
Oh
and,
yeah,
Billy Ray Cyrus, and you know, and so the man who brought Billy Ray Cyrus as the pool cleaner in a movie about Mulholland Drive also says primary colors are wrong. So
and he also voice acts as the bartender in the Cleveland show.
What?
He does. David Lynch does.
Interesting.
Right? But yeah, Green Children of Woolpit. What's the deal?
There is no deal.
So now we'll see what happens when we put them in the Coliseum to be put to the death.
We're not putting children in a Coliseum.
Well, we'll only be putting one child in the Coliseum.
Well, no,
oh, okay, that's better. Yeah.
Imagine, it's like she comes out and she's just like, she's got her brother's body, like.
Oh my gosh! Come on.
She's got to take him back to the home planet.
No. They come out and start throwing beans at people?
Yeah. It's
beans at their opponent?
Dude, maybe their ancestors created the Coliseum.
Oh.
Just tie everything.
I thought we determined that it was the lizard people.
No, the lizard people were trying to protect the planet by burying it.
The Coliseum.
What? Maybe the Coliseum uses the bones of the strange green children that died to power itself.
Why? No.
Listen, I don't want this to be our backstory.
Oh no, it's constantly changing. We're figuring it out.
It's true. It's in development.
Make your own headcanon until we decide what is real canon.
Yeah.
Till we decide what you should believe.
Anyway, we throw out all the EU stuff.
That is all the time we have for today,
yes.
sir.
I think so.
That is the conclusion of the Green Children of Woolpit.
And I would just like to thank you to you creepy campers out there for supporting us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. This is all because of you guys.
Yeah, pretty much. So if you like us, share us with your friends. Get more people onto the Patreons because we'll just keep adding more on here. And,
yeah, we're going to keep adding it, making it bigger, and maybe we'll have some big surprises in the near future.
Alex always promises these things. I don't know why I said always twice. I was like, Alex always promises these things.
I didn't even notice.
Well, in one of our previous episodes, I said another weird word that I didn't even notice. What was it?
Oh, you
I said rambling.
Rambling.
I tried to say resembling, and I ended up saying rambling. And just didn't even notice.
Funny,
just kept going.
I forgot about that rambling.
But Alex always promises these things that we haven't discussed or agreed
that's
upon.
what we're gonna do right now.
Yeah.
It's true. We are gonna have a Patreon meeting right after this. So.
But by the time you're hearing this, it will have happened
already. The meeting will have already happened.
You're living in a strange time zone.
Time is not linear.
Time is an illusion.
It's wibbly wobbly.
All I know is Time Zero marches forward, and it's marching through to the end, so...
And it is currently March!
Hey! Oh, and today's March 10th, which is Mario Day.
What is happening?
It's all connected.
Anyways, we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye!
Bye!